Hi, this is Rudy Jones. Welcome to the South Carolina College Baseball Recap for Saturday, April the 25th. This is part of my coverage of college baseball in the state of South Carolina at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. I provide coverage of all 33 teams in the state, regardless of the competition level, division, whatever you want to call it. And you can always get daily scores and schedules and things at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. But there were 33 games involving state teams played on Saturday. Let's take a look at what happened in that. Down in Conway, Blake and Pado hit a homer in the ninth inning of Coastal Carolina, a walk-off 2-1 win over Texas State, and a series win in that Sun Belt Conference series. The Chanticleers are now 30-12 overall. They're ranked number 9 in the country, by the way, and 17-3 in the Sun Belt. Texas State fell to 26-17 and 9-11. Ross Norman allowed 3 hits and a run over 7 innings for the Chanticleers, and Darren Horn pitched the final 2 innings, allowed a hit, no runs, and 3 strikeouts to get the win. Down in Columbia, Talmadge LeCroy and Tyler Bach had drove in 2 runs apiece, and South Carolina clinched a series win over Kentucky in SEC play by a score of 9-4. Gamecocks are now 22-22 overall, 7-13 in the SEC. The Wildcats fell to 26-15 and 8-12. Bach singled, doubled, walked, stole a base, and scored twice, while LeCroy singled twice, doubled, and scored once. The Gamecocks also got some good pitching out of the bullpen, including Logan Prisco, who went winning 2/3 shutout innings, did not allow a hit. He struck out 2. Again, Gamecocks win that series to win their 7th game of the year in the SEC. Up in Louisville, the Cardinals broke a tie with 5 runs in the 8th inning and clinched a series win over Clemson by a score of 11-6 in ACC play. For the second straight game, the Tigers committed 5 errors. Not sure what's going on there, but they're just not playing very good defense at all. Louisville's now 25-18 overall, 9-11 in the ACC. Clemson is 26-18 and 6-14. For the Tigers, Jacob Gerald drove in 3 runs. He had a homer. Nate Savoy had a leadoff homer for the Tigers in that game. Elsewhere among NCAA Division I teams, T.J. Anderson and Michael Gibson drove in 3 runs apiece, and the Citadel clinched a SoCon Series win over UNC Greensboro with a 10-1 win down at Joe Riley Park. The Bulldogs evened their record at 21-21 with their 3rd straight win. They're 6-8 in the SoCon. UNCG fell to 15-28 and 2-12. Also for the Citadel, Andrew Buffkin was the winning pitcher. He went 6 in the 3rd innings. He allowed a run, and he struck out 5. Bulldogs, again, even their season record at 21-21. Up in Gardner-Webb at Bowling Springs, Alan Benhart was 4 for 4 and drove in 2 runs as Winthrop evened its series at Gardner-Webb with a 9-7 win in Big South Conference play. The Eagles are now 28-15 overall, 11-3 in the Big South. Gardner-Webb fell to 19-24 and 7-10. Colin Crowley had a homer and drove in 3 runs for the Eagles in that game. He also walked 1 time. Also among Division I teams, Chris Katz, who drove in 5 runs on Friday, hit a 3-run homer in the 4th inning on Saturday to help Mercer beat Wofford 5-1 and clinch a SoCon Series victory. The Bears are 31-12 overall, 6-5 in the SoCon. Wofford fell to 30-13 and 8-5. For the Terriers, Austin Laughlin pitched 2 1/3 innings of shutout ball, allowed 1 hit, and struck out 3 in the appearance. Johan Son, had 5 hits and 7 at-bats, and Radford evened its series with Presbyterian by a score of 21-2 down at Clennon. The Highlanders are now 20-18 overall, 8-9 in the Big South. PC fell to 10-34 and 6-11. Charleston Southern's game at UNC Asheville, was suspended until Sunday because of rain. The Buccaneers are trailing 9-7 in the 6th inning. It will be completed starting at 11 a.m. on Sunday. USC Upstate and Sanford did not play on Saturday. They played a doubleheader on Friday, and they'll finish their series on Sunday. In Conference Carolinas, Danny Villafane drove in 3 runs. Had 3 hits, drove in 5 runs, and Erskine scored 8 runs in the 2nd inning to beat Young Harris by a score of 15-9. That gave the Flying Fleet a series win. Erskine is now 26-24 overall, 20-13 in the Conference Carolinas. Young Harris fell to 35-15 and 24-9. For Erskine, Stephen Kreiner was 3 for 5 with a homer, a steal, 2 runs scored, and 4 RBI. Also in Conference Carolinas, Ethan McAnally hit a grand slam, and Charlie Bussey III scored 3 runs, giving him 101 for the season. As Francis Marion finished a sweep at King, that final score was 12-9. The Patriots are now 30. Trying to find it. Excuse me. They're 40-10 overall, 27-6 in the conference. King fell to 13-36 and 10-23. Also for Francis Marion, Adrian Nina was 3 for 4 with a triple, 2 runs scored, and 4 RBI. Emmanuel got an RBI single from Stephen Clark in the bottom of the 9th inning and snapped North Greenville's 17-game winning streak with a 8-7 win over at Franklin Springs, Georgia. The Trailblazers fell to 42-8 overall, 28-5 in the Conference Carolinas. Emmanuel improved to 21-28 and 16-17. For North Greenville, Josh Fowles was 3 for 3. He had a homer, a double, he stole a base, was hit by pitch, and he drove in 2 runs in that game. Also in Conference Carolinas, Nolan Evitt had 2 hits, scored a run, and drove in a run in Game 2 as Southern Wesleyan salvaged the series finale against Shorter. Game 2 score was 3-2 after Shorter won Game 1 by a score of 11-6. That Game 2 was halted in the 6th inning because of rain. I was watching the stream. The coaches were just standing out there in the rain for probably 15 minutes at least talking about things. I guess there had been so little rain lately, they were just enjoying being cool and getting a little bit of wetness in there. But anyway, the Warriors are 15-34 overall, 10-23 in the conference. Shorter is 18-28 and 8-25. By the way, the Conference Carolinas released their tournament pairings for next week. They'll be playing in Gastonia, North Carolina. Most of the games are at Caramont Health Park in downtown Gastonia. There'll be 1 game each day on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Sims Legion Park, which is right off of I-85. North Greenville's the top seed. They get a first-round bye. Erskine is the number 7 seed. They'll be playing Southern Wesleyan at 5 o'clock on Wednesday in a play-in game. North Greenville will play the Emmanuel King winner at 11 o'clock on Thursday. Francis Marion is the 2nd seed, and they will play the winner of that Erskine-Southern Wesleyan game at 3 o'clock on Thursday. Again, the entire bracket is listed at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. They released it last night, and I've got it on there. Elsewhere, in the Peach Belt Conference, Chancellor Jennings' 3rd hit of the game, a 7th-inning homer, was the margin of victory as USC Aiken beat North Georgia by a score of 4-3 to even their series at 1-1. The Pacers are now 35-14 overall, 20-9 in the conference. North Georgia is 37-12 and 25-4. For the Pacers, we got Brady Dunlop was the winning pitcher. He went 5 innings, allowed 2 runs, and struck out 4. Also in the Peach Belt, Lander used an 8-run 7th inning to complete a sweep of St. Leo in a non-conference series, 11-7. And the Bearcats have now won 9 straight games as they close out the regular season. Lander is 31-18. St. Leo fell to 22-22. For the Bearcats, Ryan Hansen was 2 for 5. He was hit by a pitch, and he also scored 3 times. Also in the Peach Belt, Georgia College had a couple of big offensive days and swept Claflin. Game scores were 17-3 in Game 1, 19-0 in Game 2. The Bobcats are now 22-25 overall, 14-16 in the Peach Belt. Claflin fell to 4-36 and 1-29. For the Panthers, Anthony Hardy had a home run in Game 1, and Devin Tollington was 1 for 3 in the nightcap. In the other game involving a Peach Belt team, USC Beaufort got 18 hits, but 5 errors helped Middle Georgia win that game 12-6 down at Beaufort in Game 2 of that series. The Knights have clinched a series win, by the way. Beaufort fell to 12-33 overall, 4-25 in the conference. Middle Georgia is 18-31 and 11-18. In the South Atlantic Conference, Peter Adams was 5 for 8 with 5 runs scored and 2 stolen bases, and Coker swept Tusculum 14-6 and 14-4. They got a series sweep as well. The Cobras are now 15-32 overall, 12-21 in the conference. Tusculum went to 16-33 and 10-23. Zach Stover had 4 of his 5 hits in Game 2 of Anderson's doubleheader split with Wingate. The Bulldogs won Game 1 14-2, and Anderson took the second game by a score of 12-8. Anderson is now 24-25 overall, 11-22 in the SAC. Wingate fell to 34-16 and 24-9. Newberry and trying to remember who they're playing. They've got another game on Sunday, so they don't have the South Atlantic Conference pairings released yet. In Junior College Region 10, Carew Bates drove in 10 runs, including 8 in Game 2, as USC Sumter swept USC Salkehatchie in a Region 10 doubleheader. Game 1 score was 11-1. Game 2 score was 14-6. The Fire Ants are now 33-18 overall, 16-12 in the region. Salkehatchie fell to 3-46 and 1-27. I think I forgot to mention any highlights for Anderson. Their games. In Game 1 that lost to Wingate, George Massengill pitched a shutout inning. He struck out 2. In Game 2, Zach Stover had 4 of his 5 hits. As I mentioned, he had a double, a run scored, a stolen base, and 2 RBI in that game. I mentioned for the Fire Ants getting that sweep behind a big day by Carew Bates. Ryan Pikatowski also had a homer. He recently committed to West Virginia after decommitting from South Carolina. In Game 1, R.J. Hamilton got the win, pitched 5 innings and struck out 7, allowing 1 run. And in the Game 2, Hudson Moss was 3 for 5 with a double, 2 runs scored, and an RBI. With that loss, USC Salkehatchie fell to 3-46 and 1-27. Over in Union, or at Jonesville actually, a 12-run 8th inning solidified a Game 1 win for Starling Tech, 17-6 over USC Union. Game 2 was postponed until Sunday. FD Tech is now 44-10 overall, 21-7 in the region. Union fell to 30-20 and 10-16. Gaston College, the regular season champ in Region 10, survived a 1-run 5-4 win in the opener, then shut out USC Lancaster at 11-0 in Game 2 to complete a doubleheader sweep. The Rhinos are 40-93 overall, 26-3 in the region. Lancaster fell to 22-25 and 9-18. Elsewhere, Jim Johnson pitched a 4-hit complete game, and Benedict took the rubber game of the series at Miles by a score of 12-1. The Tigers are now 21-11 overall, 19-11 in the SIAC. Miles fell to 20-22 and 13-19. For Benedict, Milton Herring had a single, a double, a triple, 2 runs scored, and 2 RBI. Up in Charlotte, Jameer Manigo had 3 hits and scored 3 runs as Morris split a doubleheader at Johnson and Wells. They lost the first game 13-5. They won Game 2 9-3. The Hornets are now 10-19. Johnson and Wells is 6-29. In Game 1 for Morris, Jonathan Warren was 3 for 3 with a walk, 2 runs driven in. And in Game 2, DJ Powell was 3 for 4 with a triple, a walk, 2 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, and 4 RBI. Spartanburg Methodist pitchers allowed 8 hits, but walked 11 batters and threw 11 wild pitches in losing the series finale to Montreat 15-13 in a game called after 5 innings because of the weather. You say, well, man, Spartanburg Methodist really struggled. Look at some of the numbers for Montreat's pitchers. They allowed 9 hits, walked 8, and threw 6 wild pitches. Anyway, Spartanburg Methodist fell to 25-22 overall, 16-11 in the Appalachian Athletic Conference. I believe that snapped a 6-game winning streak for the Pioneers. Montreat, I forgot to type in their record. I apologize about that. However, they did announce the pairings for the AAC tournament, which begins on Tuesday up at Kingsport, Tennessee. By the way, Montreat is 31-19 overall, 14-13 in the AAC. Spartanburg Methodist is the number 4 seed for the tournament. They will play Columbia International in a game at noon on Tuesday. So the 2 state teams in the AAC are playing in a first-round game. Again, the entire schedule is set up at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. You can see it there. Reginald Faison pitched a complete game 5-hitter, and Voorhees stayed alive in the HBCU Athletic Conference Tournament with a 12-1 win over Philander Smith Saturday night. Earlier in the day, the Tigers fell to Hudson Tillotson by a score of 9-2. Voorhees is now 11-22 for the season. Hudson Tillotson went to 31-6 with their win earlier in the day. Outside the state, in the ACC, number 22 North Carolina got a series win over Duke. That's number 2 North Carolina over Duke 22-5. Number 3, Georgia Tech outlasted Wake Forest 14-11. Pitt clinched a series win over number 10 Virginia 11-0. Stanford got a series win over number 8 Florida by a score of 8-7. Number 22 Boston College evened its series record with Notre Dame 16-1, and Miami evened its series with California 4-3. Well, how about the ACC standings, you say? Georgia Tech's in first place at 18-7, followed by North Carolina at 17-7, Boston College at 15-8, Florida State's at 12-8, Miami's at 11-9, Virginia's at 12-11, NC State is at 10-10, Wake Forest is at 11-12, Louisville, Pitt, and Stanford are all at 9-11. Virginia Tech's at 10-13. Duke is at 9-15. California's at 7-13. Notre Dame is at 8-15, and Clemson is in last place at 6-14. In the SEC, Missouri claimed the series finale against number 24 Arkansas by a score of 6-1. Vanderbilt shut out number 4 Texas 6-0. Number 17 Texas A&M beat number 21 Florida 8-4. Number 14 Oklahoma edged number 11 Auburn 2-1. Number 17 Ole Miss took game 1 of a doubleheader over Georgia 10-8. And number 15 Mississippi State scored 2 runs in the 8th and gave up 1 run in the 9th to beat LSU 9-8. Ole Miss and Georgia are still playing game 2 as I record this. It's about 11:15. I will update the standings with that game once it ends. Anyway, the SEC standings prior to that, Georgia's at 13-6, tied for first place with Texas A&M. Dogs win, they're up by half game. Dogs lose, they're down by half game. Texas is at 12-7. Mississippi State is at 12-8. Ole Miss is at 11-8. That game will go up either 12-8 or 11-9. Oklahoma's at 11-9. Auburn's 11-9. Florida's 11-9. Arkansas is 11-10. Vanderbilt's at 10-10. Alabama 10-11. Tennessee 10-11. They'd finished their series on Friday because of weather issues. Kentucky's 8-12. South Carolina is 7-13. LSU fell behind the Gamecocks. The Tigers are now 6-14, and Missouri is 4-17. How about the schedule for Sunday? Let's take a look at what's going on there. Charleston Southern and UNC Asheville complete their suspended game beginning at 11 o'clock up at Greenwood Field in Asheville. Then they'll play their scheduled game after that. Texas State is at Coastal Carolina at 11 a.m. They moved it up from 12:30. Cameron Fluke is scheduled to get his first start in a couple of months for the Chanticleers. I'm sure they won't use him too long, just kind of let him get back into what's going on. Coastal's already completed a sweep in that completed a series win there. Campbell's at Charleston at 1 o'clock going for a series sweep. Florence Darlington Tech and USC Union play at 1 in Jonesville, doubleheader game. Middle Georgia goes for a sweep at USC Beaufort at 1. North Georgia and USC Aiken play at 1 o'clock in Roberto Hernandez Stadium in Aiken for the rubber game of that series. Radford and Presbyterian play at 1 in Clinton. UNC Greensboro is at the Citadel at 1 at Joe Riley Park. Bulldogs going for a sweep and to climb over 500. USC Lancaster is at Gaston College for a single game at 1 o'clock. USC Salcahatchee is at USC Sumter at 1. Winthrop and Gardner Webb have the rubber game of their series at 1 o'clock up in Boiling Springs. Wofford is at Mercer at 1 o'clock down in Macon. Terriers trying to salvage one game. Clemson tries to salvage the finale at Louisville, 2 o'clock game there. Newberry is at Mars Hill in a 2 o'clock game. They took Saturday off because of the weather. So did USC Upstate in Sanford. They also play at 2 o'clock. They're playing down in suburban Birmingham. The final game of the day, or at least not in their tournament, Kentucky is at South Carolina at 3 o'clock as the Gamecocks go for a sweep. The HBCU Athletic Conference Tournament, as I mentioned, continues in Tuscaloosa. Voorhees will play the loser of the Talladega-Wilberforce game at roughly 2:30 Eastern Time on Sunday. That is it for the South Carolina College Baseball recap for Saturday, April the 25th, and the schedule for Sunday, April the 26th. I hope you enjoyed what I've been trying to do here. I took a little bit extra time off on Saturday, went down to watch South Carolina play Kentucky with my neighbor, and happened to see one of my longtime friends, Alan Sharp.